So, Brie Larson, we do know that this actress has been very controversial over the years when it came to especially Captain Marvel and how she views the Star Wars franchise and the Star Wars fandom, as well as the Marvel fandom as well, mind you. You know, we do know that she's preparing to really make her way into Captain Marvel 2, which, by the way, is already in development, and a lot of fans out there are very much curious as to what's happening behind the scenes with Brie Larson's involvement in Star Wars. This is Mike Zero. Make sure to subscribe if you're new to the channel for future Star Wars content. Now, the one thing about Disney Star Wars here is that we obviously know that they're really trying to transform the overall brand. They're trying to shift away from the Kathleen Kennedy era of Star Wars. They are trying their absolute best and doing everything in their power by looking at creators like Jon Favreau, Dave Filoni, George Lucas, and others coming on board to really steer things in the right direction. It's going to take a lot of time, it's going to take a lot of effort, mind you, but I believe, obviously, that within, give or take 3 years, you're going to start to see this massive change within the Star Wars fandom beginning to truly reunite and get back to the way it used to be. It's going to take a couple of years at minimum, but we're going to see this slowly happen as the new TV shows and the new movies enter into theaters. So, with that being said, of course, we do know that one particular TV series that a lot of fans have been up in arms over is indeed the Leslie Headland Star Wars TV series for Disney+. Now, in case you guys have been out of the loop about this TV show, it is going to be an all-female-led Star Wars TV series by Kathleen Kennedy and by Headland, mind you, and other directors and writers coming on board to really help Leslie Headland with the 12-episode TV show that's going to be 1 hour each. That really is quite a lot, mind you, it is. So, what do we actually say about this? Well, what's really intriguing about all of this is that one of the key interests by Star Wars fans is to see exactly how Disney and Lucasfilm will be able to handle the new Star Wars universe in the next couple of years in order to build the franchise from the ground up, in order to make Star Wars as successful as it can be. Now, it's explained that as of right now, actress Brie Larson is very much hard at work with writer Leslie Headland with the new Star Wars TV show for Disney+. It's explained that Brie Larson is currently in panic mode when it comes to the new Star Wars TV series, as, of course, since Kathleen Kennedy lost her creative power over the last 4 episodes of the show, and that George Lucas is now regulating those episodes in order to ensure that the Star Wars series can be changed at least somewhat. Brie Larson is said to be furious over this decision by George Lucas, where it's described that now Brie Larson is battling George Lucas over these decisions, as she is trying to convince Leslie Headland to take this up with George Lucas to give her more screen time at the very end of the series. So, let's stop right here for a second. The fact that Brie Larson is challenging this and is trying to stop this regulation by Lucas to really kind of change things up with the last remaining episodes of the Leslie Headland Star Wars TV series. Now, once again, in case you guys are out of the loop once more, this show is going to be roughly 12 episodes long, alright, so far at least. It could be more than that, but they're aiming for it to only be 12. That's pretty much their lock. You know, they only want it to be 12 episodes long. Of course, things can always change where it gets longer. I highly doubt that, given that George is regulating 4 episodes, which are listed as the last 4 episodes. It's probably going to be similar in a sense to what happened with the Clone Wars Season 7, where the last batch of episodes were almost like their own story in a sense. I don't want to give anything away if you guys have not seen that season of the Clone Wars, but you guys know what I'm talking about, of how it involves a specific story. So, what's really interesting about how this all begins to unfold is that this is where it begins to get a little crazy, is that it's explained that Brie Larson lost, alright, around 50% of her screen time as the character of Maeve in the new Star Wars show since George Lucas took over the last 4 episodes of the Leslie series. However, Brie is now fighting for this to be reversed and is demanding Lucas to reverse those changes. Lucas is also getting rid of woke culture in the new series as well toward the end, which will give the show a mixture of Kathleen Kennedy tones and tones, also by George Lucas, which will make it and may be a bit confusing to Star Wars fans. So this series now is going to have a mixture of tones. It's going to pretty much, for the most part, have the Kathleen Kennedy vibes that we got from the sequel trilogy and other projects out there. And it's also going to have a lot of tones being provided by George Lucas in this new Star Wars TV series. So once again, like I say, I think that we're still on the road to success here with Star Wars. I just think that regardless of George being inserted into the last remaining 4 episodes of the Leslie series, I don't think it's going to make all that much of a difference, but Brie Larson, of all people, is really trying to challenge this and is really trying to steer things away from George Lucas. And she's actually really going to the higher-ups over at Disney. We're going to go into that in just a second. But Kathleen Kennedy, at the end of the day, there's no denying it. She is the one who truly, destroyed the Star Wars franchise, completely, made it into a train wreck when it came to Episode 9 by deleting so many scenes and putting new scenes in there that were really not all that much relevant to a lot of hardcore fans, and it really turned off a lot of people. So, beyond that, of course, now, not just that, but also Brie Larson is trying her best to get her screen time back and to make her character even more powerful than the other characters in the show. George Lucas is said to be regulating the other characters as well for the last 4 episodes that will prevent Brie Larson from being the highlight in the show's ending. Also, Brie Larson is currently getting her to actually begin training for the first batch of episodes that they plan to begin filming sometime in the middle of 2021 next year, and that George Lucas is going to try and slightly delay that from even happening as rewrites are happening for the ending of the series right now in order to regulate the new show. So keep in mind, guys, this is going to be a very interesting process, is that we have Brie Larson already training for her scenes that are about to be filmed in the middle of 2021 next year. That's where this new show is really going to begin production. And it is a little bit of a ways off. It does make a little bit of sense because the Kenobi TV series is going to begin filming in March. That's the first quarter, within the first quarter of 2021. And then you have this Leslie show that they're aiming to do in the middle of that year. So most likely we're looking at June, maybe the latest July. And there's said to be some slight delays, quite possibly in the filming, depending on what George Lucas is going to regulate. Now, Brie Larson is trying to also convince Kathleen Kennedy to change aspects of the beginning of the show in order to give her more screen time as Maeve, in order to make her the main focus in the new series for the fans to witness around the world. Now, the new series regulation is said to end around December by George Lucas, before he officially moves on to work with Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni on other projects within the Star Wars universe to make Star Wars as successful as it can be for the fandom to enjoy. So once again, the overall regulations that are being provided by Lucas, it's all going to end sometime next month, and that's going to be a big deal. Because by December of 2020, that's when pretty much all the scripts are going to be somewhat finalized, or for the most part, they will have a lot of drafts before they get finalized, before the new year begins, which is where they're going to actually begin building sets and getting ready for filming and casting more people and getting people on board, be it directors or writers and others out there. It's going to be an interesting thing to see how the fans are going to react to this show. I really still do believe it's going to be a train wreck regardless of Lucas hopping on board. We talked about this recently. I don't think it's going to make all that much of a difference, to tell you guys the truth. But aside from all of this, alright, not just that, but Brie Larson is said to be speaking with the higher-ups over at Disney in order to stop George Lucas from regulating the show's ending episodes to protect her character in the important series that will define Kathleen Kennedy's legacy and more. This is also going to be Brie's way to save the series as it is going to go through tons of problems already as we speak, where George Lucas so far is confident he will make Star Wars the way it used to be before 2012. Now that really is a big plan, the fact that he wants to bring Star Wars back to the way it was before 2012. I think he can pull it off. I think that he can really do exactly what he is pretty much aiming to do. This is George Lucas at the end of the day, and if you give him, full creative control, he can do some pretty good things. Say what you will about the prequels, but it has its amazing moments. It's got its fascinating key sequences in episodes 1 through 3. So, like I've said before in the past, guys, drop a comment below. Let me know about all of this in the comments. And if you guys did enjoy the content for today, do make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel. I thank you all so very much for the kind support, and I'll catch you guys next time.